Hello, and welcome to the steak comparison adventure. Today we're going to, well, not today, over the course of many days, we are going to have three different steaks, one cheap one medium one, and one expensive one. And we're going to actually have them at different places. So it's not so much that, cheap steaks or expensive steaks are better for the value. It's just that how these places cooked steak. We're going to have one steak at Perkins, because that's a cheap steak, the breakfast slash 24-hour place. One steak all the way out in Colorado, and one steak at a very kind of fancy steak bar. So let's actually go have some steak, and let's see which one is the best value that money can buy. So for the cheap steak, we are here at Perkins. $12.99 for 6-ounce steak, eggs, hash browns, and pancakes. But we're really going to only judge the steak. Now, let's actually just reiterate that it's 6 ounces. It's pretty tiny in terms of steak, so we have to take that into consideration when we actually judge the price per steak. About half the size of regular steaks, but let's see how it tastes. First impressions, cutting it. I actually always get steaks rare because I like my steaks bloody and mooing. But first impression, cutting the top sirloin steak. It actually cut a lot easier than a lot of the steaks I've had at like Texas Roadhouse or at Outback Steakhouse. So right now, the first impression for this $12 steak, which is only 6 ounces, is pretty good. Let's see how it tastes. Here we go, the 6-ounce top sirloin steak from Perkins. Surprisingly, a lot more tender than I thought. And actually, it's a lot more tastier than I thought. I think the top is slightly overcooked a little bit. The center is juicy and warm. And the garlic topping is actually quite nice. I'm actually doing this one after the medium price steak, and I will have to say this is a lot better than the medium price steak, even though it is only 6 ounces. Our medium price steak was kind of burnt almost. So this particular steak from Perkins definitely passes the taste test. It's juicy, and although the top is a little bit seared, a little bit overcooked, the bulk of the steak, the inside, is actually quite juicy, tasty, and it's a decent quality steak, especially for $12.99, even though it is only 6 ounces. So, medium quality, like low price steak, I would say I give it a B+ for this price, even at this size. All right, let's go to the medium quality steak. So we are at Outpost restaurant. With our steak, and this is the medium steak, the $30 steak, medium price, and had a couple of bites already. I got the rare steak, but I think they cooked it medium rare. I like my steaks alive and mooing. So let's taste one more and see how this tastes. All right, here's the cross-section of the steak. It's still juicy, it's pretty good, but I don't think it's rare enough. Like I said, I like my steaks alive and mooing. So this steak, probably not rare enough. It tastes okay. For steak, it actually tastes okay. But it's not really medium rare as much as it's medium, and I like my steaks rare. So I said I wanted the steak rare, and they confused me, and they got it kind of like medium. I should have said I wanted it bloody, because that's what rare is. I like my steak alive and mooing. It is not alive and mooing, but it actually tastes okay. So not too bad here, not too bad. Decent steak, very, very edible, very chewable. And it tastes pretty good, just needs to be rare. I think if they cooked it rare, if I actually, they didn't confuse me with the layouts and they had rare as regular rare, or if I just ordered it bloody, this would have been a better steak, but decent value. Actually, on this medium steak, I was just being nice in the restaurant. That steak sucked. It was dry and it was way overcooked, and it was not juicy. It had like very little flavor, and it was a bad steak. So this restaurant, medium restaurant, not a good steak. So this is Wonder Bar, and this is the 20-ounce Cowboy Steak. It's a ribeye. Got some dipping sauce here. Looks pretty good. So let's cut it and see how it tastes. Look at that tender steak. By the way, that Outback steak took like a chainsaw to cut, but this one cut very, very easily. So it should taste a lot better. Because I paid $60 for a steak that doesn't chew well. That's no good, but I think this one will actually chew very well. See how it tastes. So here's the piece of meat. It's very kind of tender, succulent. Hopefully this is actually kind of melts. That's the kind of steak I like the best.
What's that?
Just pinch it.
Only about 2 chews before I have to swallow. That's pretty good. I had to chew that other steak for like 5 minutes before I could swallow. So this one's much, much better.
What was that?
The flavor is pretty good too. Really tender, fresh. And they cooked it right this time. Most of the time when I order rare, it's like medium. I like my steaks kind of like extremely bloody. It's very, very delicious. Definitely the best of the 3 steaks. Cooked right, cooked tender, and I could chew it very easily. So excellent, excellent steak.
I don't know.
This is the Wonder Bar and $60 Cowboy Steak. Very good. So after having all 3 steaks, the winner is the Wonder Bar Steakhouse. Now Perkins did give it a run because it was $12 for a 6-ounce steak. So if you actually just multiply the $12 up to like the $60, and you multiply the size of the steak, it would have been a 30-ounce steak, and it was pretty tasty. But the Wonder Bar steak was actually better. It was fatty and it was more tasty than the Perkins steak. So I have to give the winner to the Wonder Bar steak, the expensive $60 steak. The middle steak could have won, but it was a disaster because they kind of overcooked it and the outside was sort of burnt and it was just not very good. So that steak sucked. It's out of the question. Don't go there. I mean, if you go to West Yellowstone, just get a Subway or something. A lot of the restaurants there, honestly, aren't really like super high quality. It's touristy and people are desperate for food, so maybe quality isn't all that high. I also had a steak at Wall Drug, and that was like even worse. So touristy places, not very good steak a lot of the time. But Wonder Bar steak, the winner of this particular steak battle off, the expensive steak wins. So money can buy you happiness, or at least it can buy you pretty good steak. All right, hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you and have a nice day.